Hi, and welcome back. Let's talk about how an entity assesses its business model and the key considerations involved in the process. When assessing a business model, the goal is to determine how financial assets are managed and how their cash flows are generated. However, it's important to remember that actual cash flows may sometimes differ from what was initially expected when the business model was assessed. Even if this happens, it doesn't mean there's been a prior period error or that the classification of the remaining financial assets in the business model needs to change. The key is that the entity must have considered all the relevant information available at the time of the initial assessment. When assessing newly originated or purchased financial assets, the entity should look at past experiences and patterns in how cash flows were realized, along with any other relevant details. This helps ensure that the business model reflects reality and not just assumptions. Assessing a business model isn't straightforward. It requires judgment. It's not about a single factor or activity, but involves evaluating multiple pieces of evidence. Here's what entities typically consider: how the performance of the business model is evaluated and reported to senior management. For instance, is it focused on generating fair value gains or collecting contractual cash flows? What risks impact the business model and how these risks are managed? For example, are they managing credit risk, liquidity risk, or market risk? How the managers responsible for the business model are compensated? Are they rewarded based on fair value gains or on the cash flows collected? By using a combination of past data, relevant information, and sound judgment, entities can ensure their business model assessments are robust and accurately reflect how financial assets are managed. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.